Hello amigos, I'm Uday and you're watching The Learning Owl. Today we will learn active listening skill. Do you know active listening skill has the power to transform your leadership, your own promotional advancement, your workplace efficiency, and it will also strengthen your bonds with your family and friends. So in this video we will discuss what is active listening skill and how it is different from hearing, what are the components of active listening skill and how to develop this skill by working on its components. So don't skip the video, watch till the end and move one step forward to success. Malcolm Forbes said, "The art of conversation lies in listening. Listening is a process of receiving, interpreting, and reacting to the messages received from the speaker. Don't confuse between hearing and listening, because hearing is just the first step of listening." There are 5 components of active listening skill. Before discussing about the components, I want to say you that some characters will pop up in your screen which are parts of a Chinese word, and in the end of this video, I will be saying about the significance of those. So keep watching them carefully. First component of active listening is ears. It is the most important part of hearing, whereas it is not so important component of active listening, because active listening is to listen more than your ears. So stop hearing and start listening. Some practices for active listening are: if you are going for a meeting or seminar, note down the breaks, because active listening is not easy. It takes a lot of effort for active listening, and if you take break, you can give your best in listening. Another thing you can do is, if someone tells you something, always summarize it, because it's very easy to hear but we usually miss what they meant. Second component of active listening is eyes. Most of us can recall the moment of our life when our parents or teachers said, "Look at me when I'm talking to you." When people aren't looking, they aren't listening. Eye contact is the key indicator people look for when determining if someone is listening. Speakers want their audience to be visually engaged. Eye contact is the best way people think they are being heard. For practicing eye contact, you can do simple yet effective things. If someone walks in your office or your home, you can just put down your mobile and turn away from your PC or TV and give attention to the speaker. Rachel E. Goodrich quoted, "The ears and the heart are connected, it's true, for when ears open wide, the heart opens up too." Referring to the above quote, we can now move forward to the third component of active listening, that is heart. When you are talking with someone, it happens sometimes that they ask you whether you are listening or not, and you quickly repeat the last sentence. With this, we have showed that you are hearing with your ears, not listening with your heart, because ability to repeat the last sentence doesn't make any sense that you are listening. When we listen with our heart, it reflects in our face and body language resonates with the speaker. Small changes in lips, eyes, shoulder, or referred as micro reactions are a result of actively listening with our heart. Always remember, there is a vast difference between actively listening and waiting for your turn to talk. Active listening with heart with genuine interest is vital, and in job perspective, it unlocks a whole new level of employee retention and output efficiency. Now, how to practice active listening with your heart? Don't stop asking questions and listening to the reply. It's very powerful. Even after listening, you should also reply. It makes your speaker feel good. For instance, you can make me feel good and motivated by commenting me below, and also by responding the poll that I have given. One thing you should remember before starting a conversation is that you have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so try listening more and talking less. Now going to the fourth component, that is focus. People often say multitasking is the best thing one should possess, but in case of active listening, it's not true. You cannot truly listen and do any other thing at the same time. Focus on undivided attention. The key to good listening is not a technique, it's desire. Until you want to understand someone, you will never understand. Active listening is a commitment and desire to be attentive. No one can accidentally become an active listener. For practicing focus, you can do meditation and yoga. You can also listen to podcasts more and more. Ralph Nicholas quoted, "The most basic of all human need is the need to understand and to be understood. And the best way to understand people is to listen to them." Now coming to the fifth and the last component of active listening, that is mind. When someone speaks, filter the word, which is useful and which is not, and then comprehend. That is, try to understand the words and interpret what the speaker wants to convey. You have to use your knowledge, experience, perception and cognitive power of mind. To improve the cognitive and analytic skill of mind, there are certain brain games about which I am thinking of making videos in future. And now it's finally time to break the suspense. I'll tell you about the characters I mentioned earlier. In Chinese language, different characters are assembled together to form a particular word. Here, eyes, ears, heart, focus and mind comprise together to form a Chinese word ting, which means to listen or to obey. I hope from next time you will surely try to listen more. My next video will be a book summary on the famous book Rich Dad Poor Dad. Those who haven't read this book, you will get some life-changing advices from the authors Sharon Lecter and Robert Kiyosaki. And those who have already read this book, you will see my way of interpretation of the book. So till then, goodbye and keep learning.